everybody, the Great Dino Rage here again, back with another figure review. Today we got another Jurassic World figure to take a look at, and it's another smaller figure this time. And today we're going to take a look at the Jurassic World Rebirth Frenzy Pack Iani, which is a brand new species to Mattel and a brand new species to me, so this is really exciting. Finally have another new species added to the collection. And it's a very interesting one at that too, because it's definitely one I'm not familiar with. Now, just want to say before we get started into the review, it is a tad bit windy right now during me recording this. So I do apologize if it's really hard to hear me. As I said many times before, you guys can find much better reviews from much better YouTubers on these figures. So do apologize if you don't hear me that well, but here we go, on with the review. So here we have a brand new species from Mattel, and also a brand new species to me. At least I didn't know anything about this until this figure was revealed. But it's another Frenzy Pack, and it's a really cool one at that. So yeah, taking a look at the packaging, it's your standard Frenzy Pack packaging with the eye-catching Rebirth packaging colors and all that. You got the cool logo and the boat colors and the island in the background, the Spinosaurus Mattel logo, Frenzy Pack Iani, which is pretty interesting because seeing this, the first letter is an I, so I always thought it was gonna be called Iani or something like that, or Iani. But I always look up brand new species online before doing a review, just so I get a little bit of background of what I'm looking at. So that's what I did with this dinosaur, and apparently it's pronounced Iani with like a Y, Iani. So very interesting. Very cool. And then here on the back shows you a lot of other information back here in the Facts app stuff, and it shows you the others from the first wave. I know the second wave is currently out too. I got to catch up on those, but we finally have these three now. We already reviewed these two, skipping out the Proceratosaurus because this is just a re-release of one that we've already gotten years ago. So I'm all caught up with the first wave. Now I just got to work on completing the second wave. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's take a look at this new dinosaur species. Alrighty, so here we have the Iani out of the packaging, and it's a really cool looking little dinosaur. Definitely, the vibe I'm getting from this dinosaur is that if you bought a lot of these would make a really cool herd dinosaur. These dinosaurs look like ones you would purposefully buy a bunch so you can build like a large herd of them gathering somewhere. And then they would get ambushed by a predator, and they're all running until one of them gets snatched up by the predator. And I don't know, that's just really cool. That's like classic stuff you would see like in dinosaur documentaries. So that's the vibe I'm getting from this little dinosaur. And yes, I would not mind getting a few others of the same dinosaur to build myself a cool little herd of them. I mean, it'll be really cool to take pictures of too, but also just to have them in hand displayed like that, I think that'd be really cool. So a little bit about Iani here. I think this is a dinosaur that was either discovered or at least described in, I think, 2023. So that was actually very recent, and now Mattel has already come out with a figure of it. So that's really cool. Mattel has done this a few times before where they would come out with a figure of a species that was pretty recently described or discovered. So that's really cool. And Iani, I think, if I remember correctly, is some sort of ornithopod, iguanodontonian, I think is what the correct term that is. Some sort of ornithopod, and I think it's closely related to Tenontosaurus, which is another ornithopod herbivorous dinosaur that lived in Utah. And funny enough, this dinosaur did live in Utah during the Cretaceous, so that was really cool. And I think it's related to Tenontosaurus, which is the famous dinosaur you'd always seeing being preyed upon by Deinonychus. So that itself is really cool. And I think the name is based off of a mythical god, I believe. Forgot the name, but it's obviously where Iani comes from. So that is really cool. And overall, the sculpt looks really nice too. I love the proportions of it, you know, with the smaller head, the lengthy neck a little bit, and the long, graceful tail to help it balance. Just a really cool looking animal, and I'm glad to have this new species added to my collection, and it's gonna look really cool on my shelf. So be prepared to see this guy the next time I do a collection video. But yeah, really cool. Detail wise, it's pretty standard for like your Frenzy Pack figures. It's really well sculpted. The paint is really good too. Pretty simplistic when it comes to these dinosaurs sometimes, but it works for what it is. So sculpt wise, starting off with the head, you got that really nice looking head. This dinosaur actually looks more like a Dryosaur, just the way that Mattel sculpted it. But I mean, it kind of looks like this when you look up images of this dinosaur from other artist interpretations of this species. But it's definitely more similar to Tenontosaurus in a way. Maybe similar to Iguanodon, but more slender, not as bulky. But this one does give me the vibes of a Dryosaurus. So the head looks really cool too. We got some nice little scales around the lower jaw. A nice little sculpted beak, looking very nice. The nostrils, and you got the eyes. I like how bright and wide, or at least how big the eyes are. Leads me to believe that this one had somewhat of a good eyesight, at least towards nighttime. I mean, you got to keep an eye on yourself for other predators. And the rest of the figure is actually covered in like this really small hair-like feathered filaments, which is really cool. Something you don't see a whole lot on herbivorous dinosaurs, but I know you see a lot on these like almost Dryosaur look-alike dinosaurs. Not so much on dinosaurs like Tenontosaurus or Iani here, but still really cool, really interesting. I like how Mattel adds those cool little creative stuff to their figures, and that feathering pretty much continues all throughout the neck and all throughout at least the top half of the body. At least up here to the tail, it's got this nice feathery hair-like texture to it, which looks really nice. And I kind of wish that maybe Mattel applied a different color to the feathers just so it stands out a little bit more. But either way, it still looks really nice. And you got some nice feathers on the arms as well, and some little bit on the legs. And everywhere else is pretty much just skin, scaly skin, or just kind of rough textured skin, such as here on the hands. They look really good with these nice clawed four-fingered hands. Nice scale detail all over the hands and arms. On the body, just some more rough skin looking texture, some more smoother texture on the underside. Pretty much continues all the way down the tail. Just some more rough texture right there, and some nice scales here on the leg. Some nice muscle definition on the leg as well. And yeah, the feet look really nice too. Nice texturing on the bottoms of the feet. Nice claws, nice ridges on the toes. Got the nice dew claw. Don't even know if the dew claw is entirely accurate. I didn't really look at that part, but I'll have to go back and check. And then here at the other side, some more smoother lined textured for the skin, and some more scales on the top half, which look really nice, and some more of that feathered like we gone over before. Here's the other side, really nicely done here. So yeah, it looks really good. Mattel does a really good job with these smaller species in terms of the detail. Now the colors, like I said, are pretty basic. Probably could have been maybe slightly better. It does look like it's in segments, like you got a different color for the head, different color for this half, and a different color for that half. Would have been, I like it when Mattel kind of mixes the colors into different parts of the body, so it kind of looks like it's a bit more natural and flows better. I like the color choices. This one looks like it belongs in like a foresty environment very well, especially with the greens and the lighter browns. So actually the head is actually like a really dark navy blue color. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's definitely different than the shade of green right here, which is really cool. And a nice yellow eye with, I think, with a black pupil this time, so not the blue on the other side, but so that's really cool. And a really nice, cool, like magenta or pink, purplish color surrounding the eye, which really is really cool. The different colors around the head make it pop and stand out, so I really do appreciate that. Now the entirety of the neck and the first half of the body, as well as the arms, are like this really dark forest green color, and that same green color is used for the beak, which I thought was going to be like a gray color, but it's actually the same color as the beak, so it doesn't look too off at all, in my opinion. Then the other half is like this really light tannish brown color, which is pretty cool. And sadly the claws are not painted, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, the colors are pretty nice. Maybe they could have been applied a bit better. I like how what they did with the head, but everything else could have been maybe slightly done, or at least applied a bit better. But otherwise, it looks pretty good in my opinion. Articulation wise, for the neck, it can go up about that far, down about that far, so you got some nice generic posing to eat or drink, or to look up at a carnivore or another passing large herbivore or something like that. Each of the arms can move forward and backwards, pretty standard. Same with the hind legs, just forward and backwards. And then you got a swivel for the tail. You also got the scan code on the underside of the feet. And that's pretty much it for this little dinosaur. Pretty basic, but that's what these little frenzy packs are mainly used for. Just kind of basic dinosaur figures, but of a smaller species to scale. So that's really cool. Now for brief little comparisons, we just got a little human. I think this is pretty accurate. I didn't look at the sizes. I just kind of looked at the way the dinosaur looked and some little information about it. But this might be accurate. Maybe it's smaller. Maybe it's a tad bit bigger. I don't know. But it is a smaller dinosaur for sure. And I do think the one that they found before was actually a juvenile. So it wasn't fully grown. So maybe this is not entirely accurate because it's only based off a juvenile. But who knows? We'll see what it is discovered in the future. And please excuse my neighbor's dogs right next door. But yeah, sizes look pretty good here. And then I don't have any other dinosaurs that could really go with this guy. I don't have a Tenontosaurus from Mattel. Mattel hasn't given us one. But I'll just throw in just some random little dinosaur. Here we got the Colovosaurus, another type of iguanodontonian dinosaur. They look pretty good together. See, I like how Mattel does with the colors on dinosaurs like these. Just kind of flows throughout the entire body. Of all the same colors, but yeah, they look pretty good together. So that's about to wrap it up for this review. Pretty short little review of this small frenzy pack, but I really like it. If you're someone that likes to collect all the different species from Mattel, I recommend finding this one. It's a really nice one. It's a brand new species, one that's fairly new in terms of discovery, so that's really cool. I'll have to look into more about this species later on, but yeah, overall, I really like it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.